Well, it is 9:39 p.m. I got started on the roof about 6 o'clock, so 4 hours to do that. So right at 4 hours, roughly. I've got one more panel to go, but I am exhausted and it's dark and my flashlight died. So, oh, I'm tired. Yeah, there it is. I realized as I was putting this up, I squared everything up. When they were pouring my pad, I remember looking at it and going, hey, that doesn't look like it's in line with my building here. And I remembered it when I saw, you can see the tin is to this side over here. And all the way over here on this one. So the metal is lined up with the pad and it's skewed this way. And I don't know if I should have done it this way or not, but when I put the tin up originally, I lined the tin up with the metal. And when I stepped back here and I looked at it, you could see the roof coming this way, and then the metal that I was putting on was cocked to the side like this. So I straightened it until it looked straight and went that way. I probably shouldn't have done that, but I'm not going to take this down and move that. So far, the screws that I have used on this roof it's just under 400 screws. And I've still got a panel and a half to go. So out of a box of 400, that's what I've got left. So that's going to give me probably another panel and a half or so. So it's just under 400 screws to do my 20 by 30 roof. So it's $40 in screws, basically. I can't remember what the panels cost. But these beams were $100 a piece. I wish I could find somewhere in North Carolina that was cheaper. That just seems really high, but it's still, you know, with me doing it, I'm still saving a good bit of money doing it myself versus having somebody else come out here and do it. So if I'm not mistaken, my side over there was right at $8,000 is what they charged me to come out and do that side. And that's back when this stuff was way cheaper. So it would probably be closer to 10 or 11,000 now, considering how much material's gone up. For $3,500, and I've actually got 7 sticks left. So 7 sticks, that's $700 off of that I can use on something else. Granted, I don't have these walls completely up yet, so I'll probably use a couple of those sticks framing all of this in. Maybe a couple more, I don't know. I've got a few sticks left over from when I built the other side over here that I'll probably still use, and I actually used a couple of them. I used that one, and I think that one, and maybe that one from my old tarp building that I had out here, just because I didn't want to cut the good stuff if I could help it. So I was trying to use as little new material as possible as far as when I was cutting something. Even if I had something that was enough, if I had a piece that was closer to it, I would use it. So the base rail was from the old building. I cut it and used it over here, and then I made this little piece of a base rail over here. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and anchor these base rails down tonight and call it a night. I am really tired. This was a lot of work. So I'll probably stick one in there and stick one in here. And I think I can only really stick one in this one as well right here. So I'll go ahead and knock that out tonight. And this thing keeps focusing weird. But at least now, if it does rain, most of this is covered and I won't have to worry about it. I slipped the new roof just under the old roof. It goes just past that white thing, just, you know, maybe a quarter of an inch or something. But this is awesome. You know, I started out this building, had this slab in here poured. Let me turn the light on. There we go. So I had this part poured, this 20 by 22, I think is what it was. And a friend of mine helped me pour this one, which I'm not real happy with. But I poured this one. The guy convinced me, he said, hey, you need to go 10 more feet. You know, so I actually went 10 more feet this way. And thank God I did. I never thought that 10 feet would have made that much of a difference, but it made the difference in getting a vehicle in here. If you get a full-size vehicle and bring it in, you can just fit it in 30 feet. So, you know, poured the pad, waited several months, put the building up, waited several, well, a year or so. Poured the pad there, waited another 6 months or a year. Put this part up and just the lean-to part out here, just the roof itself, and yeah, just the roof. I didn't put anything out here. Waited for a while. No, actually, I poured the concrete first, then put this up and that up. I'm trying to, no, I'm sorry. Poured the concrete, got that built, and the lean-to. This was dirt. Had multiple stumps here, you know, and doing all of this, I was digging stumps up and building my backhoe at the same time. So I would take half of a half-done backhoe that wasn't even really ready to use, and I would dig a stump up here and start packing in material and take my tractor and move stuff around. So in the area of all this concrete, I probably dug, I cut down probably 7 or 8 trees and dug up 15 or 20 stumps in order to be able to pour the concrete. So, you know, while I was doing all of this, this was the only area I had, and a buddy of mine came over with his tractor and his backhoe, and there's a stump here, and I think a stump over here. So we got that cleared out, but then there were 3 or 4 trees here, several trees and stumps over here, and where this pad is, there were huge stumps over here. I had a lake over here, and it took probably 3 or 4 tandem loads of filler dirt to come in and refill this and get it to where it was solid. Anyway, so I built, this was up here, just the roof itself, and then I went and bought the material. It was somewhere around $1,500 for enough to do that roof, this wall, what I've got here, and what I've got over there. I've got 2 more gray panels that I'm going to try to dig out. They probably need to be cleaned up. And I had enough to build my little tarp building over here. I'd actually put up a lean-to off this side that wasn't quite complete. When I got the press brake, I tore that down, brought the pieces over here, and put up the tarp building to cover this. So what I'm hoping I can do is I'm hoping there's enough left of this to where I can go off the back side here long enough to put me a 40-foot long well, that probably won't be enough for the 40 feet, but enough to give me a small lean-to to park my tractor and my backhoe and stuff like that under eventually. So I'll probably go back and get more material, but instead of getting 32-foot sticks, I think I'll get I'll probably specify the length. So out here I'll probably go 12 feet out. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 12-foot pieces times 2. So 26 12-foot pieces to do the, out and over. And however many for the base rail. But I'm hoping maybe I'll have 1 or 2 of these 32-foot long pieces that I can use to make a base rail out of. So, but the thing is, this building has morphed into whatever the heck this thing is now. So this was never, originally I thought this first building was plenty. But I paid, when the guy put the building up, and I'm glad I had the forethought to do this, but I had this 12-foot by 9-foot opening put in on both sides. And when I did that, it was like, well, if I ever need to expand, I can. But the first thing I did is just wall these up, 2x4s and tarps, basically, for a year and a half. Then I utilized the first one for my machine shop, and then this was walled up. And then as I was running out of room, I got a 28-foot trailer, like a semi-truck trailer in a trade. Got it pulled in here. Of course it was 4 foot off the ground. So I got under that thing with a plasma torch. And I had cut a bunch of trees. So I used all the logs and stacked them up and used that to block the thing up. Ran straps to a stump over here and a stump over here and stabilized it to keep it from, falling over one way or the other. And after I cut the landing gear out of the front and cut the wheels and axle and all that stuff out of the back, I slowly dropped it down and then used, this wasn't here at the time. I parked my 1-ton over here and took a winch, a couple of strap winches, and pulled this thing over. I don't know how much that thing weighed. It was really heavy. But that became part of my trailer for a long time, or part of my building. I use that for storage. I put my Monarch lathe in there back when I had it. And then when I started to go this route, I traded that to a buddy of mine who needed it. And we moved it on that yellow trailer, actually. Picked it up, dropped it on the yellow trailer, and then drove it over to his house. And then I started digging up stumps. And I think at that point, this had already been built. But this thing has really turned into something I never thought I would have. I started out in a little construction trailer building just whatever I could with a Harbor Freight mini lathe and a Harbor Freight mini mill. At one point I had a little Atlas 6-inch lathe and never thought I would get into all the stuff I've gotten into. But, this just goes to show if you just keep working at stuff, it's amazing what you can accomplish if you just keep going. I would be afraid to know how much money I've got sunk into this building. I probably got over $100,000 in concrete and building and electrical and insulation, air conditioning, plywood, all of the stuff that I've got. I scavenged what I could scavenge. Over the years, I would save wire, anything that I could get. I used to have multiple pallets out here with tarps over top of big spools of 10-gauge wire that I'd gotten for free and things like that that people were throwing away. That's how I ran a ton of my electrical. family was getting rid of stuff, I ended up with a whole bunch of the MC cable to run outlets and lights and things like that. And after I ran out of most of that, I started buying it. So, you know, $300 or $400 Lowe's trips here and there. You know, sub panels, just all of this stuff that I bought over the years really adds up. But eventually, these two air compressors will either go that way or out in the front. I'm not sure where or which of those I'm going to do yet. That will get this area out of the way for me, and I'll probably put a shelf of some kind right here, maybe one of these. These were just the cheap Harbor Freight things. I got that from work. They were throwing that away. I'm going to take this. I'll leave these two in here probably, but the table, that table, welders, gas over there, that little trolley that I made for my sheet metal, that will probably stay where it's at. This will go in here. So eventually all of this will be in here. So what I'm thinking is my Crossfire plasma table, since the roof is already a little bit low in this corner and this is where a wall is, I'll probably put my Crossfire right here. So I'll put it maybe kind of to this side. I'll be able to do stuff over here, and I'll be able to do stuff over here. I could also, and I considered putting it over here in this corner as well, right here, because I could load material from the rear if I wanted to. It's small enough, though, that I could probably just manhandle most of that stuff up on the table. But anyway, progress. So Fab Shop is finally getting close to completed. I'll probably have to spend another $500 or $600, I'm assuming, on the gray paneling. But at least I won't have to make a 5-hour trip and go pick it up. Once I empty all of this out and frame all of this up, I'll figure out how many panels I need. And I'm probably going to end up using most of this over here to just cover this machine. So if I have any left, that's probably where it's going to go, now that I think about it. Because I want to get this out of the weather, and I'll have to wait until I pour my footers and drop it on the ground. So that'll be one of my next major projects to get that done. And that'll also get all this out of the way, and then I can roll that over top of it, hopefully. Like I said, I'm probably going to just go with a flat roof, because as you can see, it's really close to, I don't know, being in the way now. So I'm probably going to take these stubs out, cut them here, bend them just maybe 10-15 degrees, and re-weld some filler or whatever in there, and that will give me a flatter roof to go out over top of this. And I may go ahead and do that before I even drop this down, just to at least get it out, because right now all of this rain is going to pour right into this machine, which isn't good. So I'm hoping maybe tomorrow I can get that done. And if nothing else, I'll use another tarp to cover that temporarily until I can get the paneling. So really, these beams are the hard things to get. But next time it won't be as big of a deal, I don't think, because instead of getting 32-foot long sections, I'm probably going to go with 21 foot and shorter. Unless I absolutely need a 32-foot section. But I hope I'm done with those longer ones. So anyway, I've got a lot of cleaning up to do, but you know, I never really realized how big this pad was when I was kind of constrained in this area, about where this line was here, over to there is about the size of what I had. So now I'll be able to get in here and maybe work on this a little bit, get this finished up. And when I do, I'm going to turn it and push it up against the wall over here, or I might even put it over here against the wall. I'm not 100% sure yet. I just want to make sure I've got room behind it to work on it if I need to. And like I said, what I thought about doing is coming off of the lean-to over here to where I could back this up to this wall. And if I did need to work on it, I'd have, you know, maybe a 12-foot long thing off the back over here, or whatever that is. I think that may be 15 feet. It's either 12 or 15, I don't remember. But I'll come off to essentially that. And then I'll open that door up to where I can walk through into here as well. So, you know, been a long time coming to get to this point. So I am very close to being done with my building. Or at least the biggest expenditures are mostly done. The concrete's already done. Any more concrete that I pour, I'll probably pour by myself with that concrete mixer. See, depending on how that first pour goes. Unless it's a really great big pad, but at least right now, I don't see any more concrete in my future for a while. So, yeah, once I get all this done, I'm going to start working on my house. It needs a lot of work, little knick-knack stuff here and there. Floors that I got to redo. Just all kinds of stuff. And I'm actually going to take and buy this siding from the place over here. I don't know, it's 30 minutes away. And use that to side my house with. Lasts forever. And it will make my house match my building. So, that's the plan anyway. But yeah, there we go. Progress. Like I said, where there's a will, there's a way. I honestly didn't think I'd be able to do the roof by myself. Now this part of it, because I don't really have anywhere to put my ladder over here, it's kind of rough. This may be interesting. What I could do is clean all this up and back my trailer up here and set my ladder on it, or something like that. Maybe even bring my tractor over and pick the bucket up. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But I've got one more panel and then a piece of a panel. And I think I've got 3 panels out there. So if I've got one panel left, I may take just barely enough of that material to go over here on the back side, pour me a little pad, and put me a small roof up for the air compressors. That would get them out of there as well. So anyway, I don't know if this is the kind of stuff people want to see or not, but you know, if you'd rather see something else, let me know. So have a good night.